ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Urban Nation. I had to bring Ron back because me and him was having a good conversation about what should we say? The reason why, if you have a message or something that you're trying to get out to the world, why you should be on a podcast. And I don't think a lot of people really value that, Ron. So Ron, help us understand why podcasting in 2023 is essential, important to your business, your message, whatever you're trying to get out to the world.
Okay. If you owned a business, do you think you would benefit from being on Good Morning America and having everybody know about your business?
Absolutely.
Probably so, right? If you owned a business, do you think you would benefit from going on the Breakfast Club or the Howard Stern radio show?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? So those are different modes of communication. One is television, but it reaches mass audiences. The other one is radio. It reaches mass audiences. Well, a third one is podcasting, right? So right now, the biggest channel for communication that has the most views in the world is actually a podcast. It's the Joe Rogan podcast. He has the biggest platform in the world today, right? So sometimes we may not be able to get on Joe Rogan or the Breakfast Club or Good Morning America, but we could get on our local television station. We could probably get on our local radio station, or we can get on smaller podcasts, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. It's hard to get on Joe Rogan. It's hard to get on Good Morning America. It's hard to get on the Breakfast Club, but it's easy to get on smaller podcasts because they need guests. And if you're interested, you're going to be practicing while you're on those smaller shows, learning to get your message right, learning to help the audience a lot better, so that when Joe Rogan, the Breakfast Club, Good Morning America all hit you up, you ready because you done 400 podcasts beforehand, right?
Primed and ready.
So, yeah. So if you would go on Joe Rogan or the Breakfast Club or Good Morning America, why would you go on other podcasts, right? You get in front of your audience. You get to talk about your business. If you get one customer out of it, that's great, right? If you get 5 customers, that's even greater, right? So that's the value of podcasting. It's an easy way to get your message out to an audience. And guess what? You don't even need your own podcast. A lot of people try to start their own podcast, and I think that's a mistake at the beginning because you don't have an audience to listen to you. But guess what? You can go on other people's podcasts. They're going to do the editing. They're going to put it out. They're going to send it to their audience. They're going to do all the work. All you got to do is just show up and talk. So, hey, man.
It's almost like free marketing in the essence, especially if they're doing all the work, making the clips, putting it out there, and you get potential free client acquisition.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it as free, but I look at it as a value exchange, right? Yeah. Because as a host, you want valuable content that will help your listeners.
Absolutely.
So if I can bring that value in and make it interesting for your listeners, I've provided you something of value, right?
Yeah.
And what did you give me in exchange? You gave me exposure in exchange for me being able to share my knowledge. So it's actually, it's a win-win for both, because you didn't pay me to come over and to come on the podcast for my knowledge, where if somebody was looking for that coaching, they would have to pay me, right? But I didn't pay you for the referral to your audience. So it's free, but it's a win-win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Most things that are free usually are not a win-win, but being a guest on a podcast is free, but it's a win-win. Now, some podcasts you got to pay to go on. And sometimes it's worth it. Like, I would pay to go on certain. If Joe Rogan said, Ron, it's going to be 20 grand to come on my podcast, sign me up. I'm going to send him that 20 grand. I'm going to be on Joe Rogan, right? I don't think he charges. But is it worth me paying to get on Joe Rogan's channel, to get in front of 20 million people?
Yeah, hell
every day.
He got loyal listeners. He got millions of loyal listeners, and because you on there, and they trust him, so they trust whoever he brings on, and so then they go and do business with whoever he brings on. So
I got a 3-hour commercial. Joe Rogan's podcast is 3 hours, so it's a 3-hour infomercial. If I'm interested, it's the words of Eminem. If you are who you say you are. No, it's Lupe Fiasco. That's Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, Lupe.
Lupe Fiasco, right? If you are who you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The crowd is here. The lights are on and they want to show, right? So if you believe that you got the goods, you just haven't been discovered, go out there and push yourself, right? It's like the independent artist, right? So the business owners, entrepreneurs today are the independent rap artists of the past. You got to get out there and sell these tapes out of your trunk, right? Yeah. Get out there and get on these podcasts and do these free shows and show people that you got the goods, right? Yeah. Now, if you're as good as you say you are, they'll start following you on Instagram to see what you're talking about. They'll start following you on Twitter and doing all this stuff. They'll watch your YouTube channel, but then they'll buy your goods. Man. So that's all that I'm saying. If you're as good as you say you are, show us. Show us. Yeah. I ain't hiding nothing. Just come tell me. Look, I'm going to come out here. And some people watching this, they like, I hate this dude. He talked too fast. He talked too much. Cool. I'm glad. I need some haters, right? You want your message to repel some people and attract other people. You don't want to be kind of winning to everybody, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the truth is that there's an audience out there for everybody. Out of all of the billions of people across the world, the globe, if you tap into the right individuals, they can resonate with your message and you get your little community, and that's who you do business with. You know, I always tell people those that Jay-Z bar, like, if you don't like what I'm saying, then fine. It costs you nothing. Pay me no mind.
Pay me no mind. That's it. You know? I mean, there's 3 million podcasts, right? In our database, I own a software company called PinterDB. Right? Mm-hmm. And if you're watching this, I'm going to give you a great offer at the end of this where you all can get PinterDB, where you can pay for it one time and use it for life. You don't have to pay the monthly $97 subscription, right? So you'll be able to pay one small fee, probably like $97 once, and get access for life to get on as many podcasts as you would like, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's 3 million podcasts in our database as of today, right? It grows every month by about 80 to 100,000. Not by 80, but by 80 to 100,000 new podcasts are out there. So you'll always be able to find a little niche of people that you can go talk to. And here's my thought. People always say, well, I want to be on the big ones. Okay, let me show you why that's not always the best thing. Mm-hmm. First thing is, what's your alternative? If you had an hour right now and you could talk to a room of 50 people, would you talk to them about your product and service?
It depends on who those people are. Like, if
50 people that are in your audience. They're in your
in my audience, yes. In my target audience, yes.
50 people in your target audience. Would you go and talk with them? Yeah, you would. Right?
Absolutely.
So if the podcast only got 50 downloads, who cares? It's no different than you spending an hour talking to 50 people in your target audience. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's the first side. That's the biggest missed opportunity, is that everybody wants to be on the big podcast. Right? Yeah. But let me tell you something. If you can convert from an audience of 50 people, you definitely can convert from an audience of 5,000. Imagine how good you're going to be when you get in front of 5,000 people. So, as a guy, we say a lot of crude things, but I used to always, my uncle told me, he said, hey man, you need to go on more dates. Right? Because the more dates you go on, the better you'll be for your future spouse or girlfriend or whatever, right? So it don't matter what they look like. Don't be judging them. I only want to go out with the baddies. I only want to go out. No, go out with everybody, because you're going to learn something from everybody. And then you take those skills, and then when you find your dream girl, you'll have her, right? Because of the practice. It's the same concept, right? If I just go on if I go on 400 podcasts, when Joe Rogan invite me on his, oh man, it's gonna be out the park.
I'm gonna be snapping. I'm gonna be popping. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, right. So there's the
and you like, there's another hit, Barry Bonds. We out of here, baby.
Exactly. We out of here, baby. Kanye West, right? So, but it's like that. It's like the old saying of elephant hunters eat rabbits, right? So imagine in East St. Louis, we never saw elephants walking down the street. But there was always little rabbits bouncing in our backyard or whatever. And because East St. Louis is kind of a little country town, so you see deer and rabbits everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So we would see little rabbits bouncing around in the backyard, and you come outside, they run, boom, right?
Yeah.
But if I needed to eat and I was starving, I would practice shooting those rabbits. Mm-hmm. And if I could hit those little fast rabbits, imagine what would happen that one day in my lifetime when the big elephant walks down the street. If I've been practicing on these little fast rabbits, I'm going to kill that big elephant, right? Yeah. And I'm going to eat for the rest of my life. That's how you have to think about podcasting. Go on the little ones and get good. So then when you get on the bigger ones, they like, holy crap, this guy, where have you been all this time, right? But let me tell you another side. They're only going to let you on those bigger shows if you can prove that you've already been good on the other ones. So they say, well, what has he been on in the past? So people can go and listen to my past podcast to see how good was I. Is he interesting? Does he know how to tell a good story? Can he keep me engaged? Is his business stuff practical? Right? Because they're going to judge that. They're going to say, okay, I want to make sure when he comes on my show with 20,000 people, he's not going to embarrass me. Yeah. Right? So that's why I think it's better to go on the smaller shows first, develop your skills, work on your crossover, work on your behind the back, work on your curveball, whatever sport you like, work on your fundamentals. And then when you hop on a bigger show down the road, you're gonna kill that elephant, but you eat the little rabbits along the way and get good. Because, I mean, think about it. Let me ask you this. Yeah. If I've been on 40 podcasts, when you look me up and you see I've been on 40 podcasts, you automatically just be like, all right, he must know what he's talking about. Because 40 people ain't going to make the same dumb decision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I've been on 100, you're like, he been on 100 shows? 100 people ain't bringing an idiot on their show. Right? So just eat the little rabbits. It builds your social proof. It looks like you've been everywhere. You share all these different messages. But one last thing, tell you the other thing about it. You get a recording of these shows. Right? Now you got all your Instagram clips for your business of you showing that you know what you're talking about. You got all your Instagram reels and your little highlights, right? That little elephant hunters eating rabbits thing, I'm clipping that up and it's going to be on my Instagram this week. I'm going to put that on there. That's going to be my little 30-second reel on Instagram, right? You know, me talking about my uncle, I can clip that out. Boom. Yo, man, you need to go on a lot of dates. That's going to be a clip. Bam. Right? So podcasting can be another source of content for all of your other social medias also. But it's probably the most underestimated marketing tool out there today, man.
Yeah. And I think because a lot of people don't see it the way you just broke it down. But even with you breaking it down like that, I feel like there's some people who do know this, but they I don't know, they just have trouble taking the first steps or getting to the next steps. Why do you think that is? What is the biggest hurdle that you see in your personal opinion that really holds people back from taking that next step, even now that they know?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Because we don't know where to find the data. Like, do I really want to go look it on Google and go to every podcast website and search for everybody's email address? And I don't, I know about the podcasts that I listen to. The podcasts that I listen to are normally not the podcast for my audience. Right? So I work with speakers and entrepreneurs. I don't listen to any podcast about public speaking. Right? So I need the ability to go in and type in public speaking podcast so I can see the ones that have my audience already listening, right? So that's the hard part. And we solve that with the software. When you go in, and we've built Google it's basically a Google search for podcasts. When you go in and you search, you put in the information, it's going to bring up 4,000 podcasts on your topic. And you can select the ones you think fit the best, right? So I can type in Black Business Podcast. And it's going to bring up the Black Business Podcast. there's probably 4,000 of those, right? And then I can say Black Business Software Podcast. Now we down to like 300 because there ain't a lot of Black software companies, right? Yeah. So now I know the people that are listening are software founders. You know, I can get very specific. I can select those, and then I can send. We have the email address to every podcaster on earth, right? So I can go in and I can select that podcast. And if I want to be on Terrell's podcast, just how I got here now. We just sent them an email and said, yo, you looking for an interesting guest? That's how we're on here because of an email that was sent using my software. Right?
And I was like, come on down.
That's it, right? So you send them an email, ask if they're looking for guests. If they are looking for guests, then you go ahead and you make your pitch. But that's the key. We've solved the biggest problem, which is finding the contact information, right? So let's go back to our rap analogy. Right?
Okay, go ahead.
If you were a rapper or a singer, you remember they used to have this video of Justin Bieber outside playing the guitar and singing.
Look, man, what you talk about when he got discovered by who did he get discovered by?
When he got Usher? Discovered by Usher. Right? Usher just happened to be walking down the street that Justin Bieber was outside playing on. Look, you can try that if you want. Right? You can just go stand on the corner yourself and start talking like an old street preacher, and hopefully somebody with a podcast will discover you and invite you on their podcast. But that don't work no more, man. Nowadays we didn't have the email address or the phone numbers of the record labels in order to send our mixtapes to, right? Or in order to send our demo records to. Nowadays, we got the email addresses of podcasters. Just email them. Yo, send them your demo. Send them an email with your links of other podcasts you've ever been on. Or send them a link to your IG with you talking on Reels, showing that you got something to talk about, right? So you ain't got to be out on the street, doing the Justin Bieber no more. You can just talk directly to people and send them your demos straight to the office, and they can decide if they want to have you. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So now that you solved the biggest problem for all my runners out there, everybody who follows us, who always talk about, man, I would love to start a podcast or be on the podcast. You ain't got to start a podcast. You just need to be on the podcast to get your message out. And we are going to do you hinted it already, Ron. So I know they watering, they chomping at the mouth. Let's talk about the special deal we're going to offer them.
All right. So here we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you all an opportunity to get a lifetime account where you can pay once, right? So you're going to go to pitchdb.com/RUN, like run, Rise Up Nation, right? So we're going to do pitchdb.com/RUN. Or do you want to change it to something else? Do you think that's...
No, we can do run. That's the easiest. RUN. Are you in? Are you in, Rise Nation? Are you in? That's the question. Look, I see we there. We say we there with it.
Yeah, are you in or not? You in or you out, right? So PitchDB, PITCH.com. I mean, PITCHDB.com, pitchdatabase.com/RUN, pitchdb.com/RUN. I want to say it again. That's where you'll be able to go. And you'll be able to get a lifetime access discount that's not available to the public. It's because you're on, you're a listener of Rise Up Nation. It's because you're on the email list. This is what you're going to get, right? So here's my thing. Here's why I think it's pretty dope. Because normally we charge on a monthly basis. With this, you pay one time, you get to pick how many podcasts you want to reach out to on a monthly basis. So you can get the lowest level that'll give you like 10 pitches that'll get you on 2 podcasts, because sometimes that's enough, right? Or you can pick the highest level, which will get you on like 30 podcasts in a month. So if you really want to be out there and be like, look, I'm tired of trying Facebook ads. I'm tired of trying all this other stuff. I want to do an infomercial every day, because that's all a podcast is. It's a 30-minute infomercial about your business. I want to go on one every day for a year. That's my goal. So this year, so far, I've recorded 6 podcasts since January 1st. So I told myself I'm going to do a podcast every day this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's your goal, you'll be able to select that option. We'll give you templates.
Man.
We'll show you how to do it. I mean, look, man, if you do it, you use your pitches, you reach out to folks, and you don't get booked, hit me up and I'll give you 3 times your money back.
Mm.
You hear what I said? Reach out to people. If they don't ask you on the podcast, I'll give you 3 times your money back, or I'll do it for you.
Woo!
Right? So you can't lose.
That's a good deal.
So if you're a business owner that needs to get your message out there, it's a guarantee that you will be on podcast. Either I'll give you 3 times your money back, or I'll do it for you and get you booked. Right? So that's pretty much the best offer I can make to them. Right?
Man.
For as little as $97, they can be on 2 podcasts a month for the rest of their life. Imagine if you got in front of 2,000 to 3,000 people every month that were in your ideal target customers. You don't think you can sell at least 2 of them? You don't think you can make that $97 back? Man, you can make that back easily on the first podcast you go on, right?
Man.
So that's what I think the biggest opportunity is to get on more podcasts, get your message out there, become famous. Imagine being podcast famous.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's what I would be doing.
Look, all my runners out there, are you in? Are you in? Come on, Rise Urban Nation. This is your time to shine. We said 2023, it's all about me. It's the Jumpman year. So let's put up Jordan numbers this year and make sure that you take advantage of this special. We're going to send it out to you. If you have questions, comments, concerns, reach out to us. And money back, a money back guarantee. Exactly. You can't beat that. So take that to the bank.
Well, I'm going to say something else. You don't have to be perfect, right? Because I made a huge mistake. I called it Rise Up Nation. Didn't matter because it's Rise Urban Nation, right? So I want to get that out there so people know that you don't have to be perfect. You just got to get started. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you don't have to be perfect to get started, but you got to get started to be perfect, right? So I'll get better at that, and I'll get better at all of the. You can make mistakes and still be good. Because that ain't a deal breaker, right? That ain't a deal breaker in the bigger scheme of things. That don't change the deal that I offered y'all. Me being an idiot and messing that up don't change the deal structure. It's still a great deal for y'all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I even kind of loved the wordplay when he was saying it. I was like, ooh, I might have to start the Rise Up bundle, which allows people to rise up in their business, in their career, in their messaging. And we had Pitch DB and some of the other. Yeah, Rise Up.
Keep the letters. Rise Up now. Let's go.
We taking all the acronyms over this year.
Yeah, man. But I think that's part of the great thing about podcasting is that you don't have to take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
Right? You ain't got to take yourself so seriously. But if you're on Good Morning America, we got to cut that out. We got to do this. This is going to offend our sponsors. This is going to do that. This is going to do this. And they just so tedious about nothing. And then you only got 3 minutes. I can't talk about what I'm doing in 3 minutes. Like, that's hard. But on a podcast, I got 20 minutes, an hour, 3 hours. Yo, man. So you can make mistakes and still be great. So this is from a guy who runs a podcasting company, and you saw me screw it up. So get out there. Ain't no excuses, okay? I don't want to hear your excuses.
Yeah, get out there. Don't make no excuses. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Any last words for the runners out there, Ron?
Nah, man. Look, are you in? Are you in? pitchdb.com/RUN. The letter R-U and N. Just 3 letters, not the words. Just 3 letters. RUN. Let's go. Let's rise up.
Let's
nation.
go.
Let's rise up.
Rise up.